Chicago, the buried crossroads of ancient America. They tell you Chicago was built on a swamp by European immigrants. This is the first lie they feed you. The truth? Chicago sits on the single most strategic piece of real estate in North America, the Chicago Portage. This wasn't just a patch of land. It was the continental hub that connected the entire ancient world. Look at a map. Really look. To the east, the Great Lakes, the St. Lawrence River, and the Atlantic Ocean. To the west and south, the Chicago River, the Illinois River, the vast Mississippi River, and the Gulf of Mexico. This was not a swamp. This was the I-95 of the ancient world. The only land barrier separating the entire Atlantic system from the Gulf system was a mere 6-mile stretch of dry ground. Any advanced civilization, anywhere on Earth, would have built a city here. And one did. Remember the evidence of the Michigan copper? The copper that ended up in Egyptian pyramids. Chicago was the funnel. Here's how the ancient trade worked. Copper mined from Isle Royale, shipped south through Lake Michigan, portaged right here, at Chicago, to the Mississippi River system, shipped south to the Gulf of Mexico, and loaded onto Phoenician or other transoceanic ships for transport across the Atlantic. This isn't speculation. Trace element analysis proves Old Kingdom Egyptian copper came from Michigan. Chicago was the control point for this monumental transoceanic trade network. They want you to believe Ellis Island immigrants built Chicago. But let's look at the dates of its architectural marvels. The world's first skyscraper, the Home Insurance Building, completed 1885, 7 years before Ellis Island opened. The Rookery, 1888. The Monadnock Building, 1893. The Masonic Temple, 1892. The same year Ellis Island opened its doors. These architectural feats were already designed, engineered, and under construction before the mass immigrant labor force even arrived. Who built them? The skilled labor force that was already here, the indigenous and Negro populations, along with the engineers and architects who had been practicing their craft in America for generations. Here's where the story gets bizarre. In the 1850s and 1860s, something unthinkable happened. Chicago literally lifted itself out of the mud. Mainstream history calls this urban renewal. But think about the logistics. They lifted massive stone and brick buildings without modern machinery. They raised entire city blocks by up to 14 feet. The official story? They did this to get out of the mud. The logical conclusion? The city was already there, buried under layers of sediment from a cataclysm, a great mud flood, and they were simply salvaging it. This matches the pattern nationwide. Seattle's underground city, the buried first floors in St. Louis. America's ancient cities were recovered, not built from scratch. Why has this true history been buried? Because admitting Chicago's ancient significance would mean admitting that advanced civilization existed here long before Europeans arrived. It would mean admitting that transoceanic trade was happening for millennia, and that the indigenous population, the original inhabitants, built this complex infrastructure. They had to make Chicago a new city built by new people to maintain the fiction that America was vacant land waiting for European settlement. Next time you're in Chicago, look closer. The river isn't natural, it was engineered. The street grid follows ancient paths. Chicago stands as a monument not to what immigrants built, but to what they salvaged. The mud they raised the city from wasn't just dirt. It was the evidence of a forgotten, sophisticated metropolis at the crossroads of the ancient world.